This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
We welcome in Skye Kerstein, producer, multimedia journalist, Fox 2 Sports. Welcome, Skye, on the eve of training camp's first practice. I'm so thankful and looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I just got back from Allen Park, as the players reported, and good news, everyone was there. So it's already been a good day for the Lions.
Now, I read on your Twitter page that this is your fifth year covering the Lions, your fourth training camp. What does it mean to you to be covering the Lions, especially the NFL, so big, and especially here in Detroit?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Allen Park's a great facility, one of the best ones in the country. And it's the start of, how should I put this? Well, it's the end of summer. It's the start of, I guess fall and winter and college football. It's the beginning. It's the most fun time of the year when it comes to that, and the worst time of the year when it comes to weather. But it's the end of summer, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be great having you out there this year. And I'll tell you, everything's set. They have tons of stuff set up for all the fans, and looking forward to everyone showing up tomorrow, because you got to remember, initially it was season ticket holders only tomorrow. Now it's everyone's allowed to go. So it should be a lot of fun, a great atmosphere. And this year, I'm really, really looking forward to the Patriots coming. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, multiple practices ahead of the first preseason game there. I think it's going to be unbelievable. I think it's going to draw a lot of interest.
You guys see Tom Brady a few feet away from you? That's pretty cool.
No doubt about it. Now, you brought it up. I think everybody initially ahead of training camp was looking at, okay, there could be a potential problem with Darius Slay and Damon Harrison potentially holding out, but they have shown up, and everyone has said it's a huge morale boost. I think it bodes well for Matt Patricia and the organization that those two guys, key guys on that defense, have shown up and are not holding out.
Yeah, and it's not like they just had 1 year left. They had multiple years left. They want a new contract. I get it. Show what you can do on the field. You're leaders of the defense. They knew they had to be here for this. They were going to show up. They made their displeasure known, but they showed up. Again, they're being leaders. It's good for the younger guys on the team to see these guys show up, and it's great for the Lions that everyone is there, and it's not something looking over their shoulder all of camp, because that's going to be the only question the media members ask, or the biggest question the media members will ask every day. Now it's not a distraction. Everyone is there. They knew what they were doing. They knew they had to be there today, and they're there. And it's good. It's a good start for the season for the Lions. That's, I guess, your first victory.
One aspect that a lot of fans and a lot of media are going to be looking to is year two Matt Patricia. What are you going to be looking for from him, especially in this training camp?
Just how hands-on he is. He was very hands-on last year, but that's because he was never a head coach before. He didn't know how to be a head coach. He didn't understand how valuable his time is. It went from being a coordinator where all you have to do is watch film to being a head coach where everyone is looking for input from you. So during the day, everyone's coming to see you. And it's a big difference, because you don't have the time that you used to be able to watch film, because you're doing everything. You're doing not only football stuff, you're doing tons of stuff outside of football. You're deciding on the media schedule. Just little things like that. I don't think people understand how complicated being a head coach in the NFL is. Jim Caldwell used to have every single day laid out before the season started. What's going on, what time the media is in there, what time meetings are, everything. And that's a big adjustment being a head coach. I think that Matt Patricia is going to take a huge stride in that this year, because he has been there. He has done that now. He saw last year what didn't work, and he's going to change it up. And I'm sure he talked with his colleagues around the league as well, just how you move from year one to year two. And now that he's so much more familiar with what's going on as a head coach, I expect big things from him just being that head coach this year.
And also with the additions of Trey Flowers, Danny Amendola, those that know Matt Patricia and are familiar with this system, one of the keys, I think, for Matt Patricia is going to be improving the culture in the locker room and getting more people to buy in to his system in order for him to have success.
I agree, and that's why you bring in familiar faces. It'll be interesting to see how Amendola does this year. I think you could almost picture him as a Golden Tate, your safety blanket in the slot, and that's what they're counting on with him. And then you have a Trey Flowers who's an absolute beast on defense. We'll see if he does exactly what he did in New England. And the good part, again, as you just mentioned, he is familiar with that defense. Another leader, another guy on that defensive line or that defensive back, or, the linebacker there, where he can take that next step and he can teach others what to do in certain situations. Just another voice on the field who understands the defense. It's a very complicated defense. I think that hurt them the first half of last year. You saw that defense get better and better as the season went on because it is so complicated. It was very tough in the beginning. Remember all those long plays they were giving up because they did not understand it. And then they got more understanding of it, and then they understood it. And Jared Davis talked about today how they had tons of confidence those final couple games going down the stretch. Now they understand this defense. You brought in a guy who understands it as well, and that's huge because you can teach it to all the young guys.
Online, obviously, people react to everything in training camp, and that's what I'm excited to see is how people react to coverage and things like that. One of the first stories that came out, the first reports was Trey Flowers placed on the PUP list. People freaked out a little bit, wondering, oh man, there's a big investment in this guy. Is it anything? Is it much ado about nothing? Or when you look at these lists, do you pay close attention to the early PUP list and things like that?
If he's still on the PUP list 2 weeks from now, then I think that you start getting – what's going on here? But I'm guessing it'll probably be just pure guess. It'll probably be a week or so, maybe less. But they do that to protect them because if you take them off the PUP list, then you put them on IR, then you would have to use one of your IR spots to take them off. Before you're allowed to take somebody or put them on the IR, expected to return list, before you would lose them for the year. I remember when I covered the Redskins, Malcolm Kelly wasn't put on the PUP list. He got hurt or he re-injured himself, I think, the first practice, and then ended up having to go on IR because you can't put him back on the PUP list. So it's just a way for the team to protect themselves if they're not practicing in the first practice. That's it. It doesn't take up an IR to return spot. That's all it is. If he's not back in 2 weeks, then I'd start worrying.
Skye Kerstein joining us on this training camp edition. Training camp is opened. The vets and the rookies have reported. You can follow Skye on Twitter. A great follow. Trust me, at Skye Kerstein Fox 2. What were your biggest takeaways today? Matthew Stafford, Jared Davis, among those that addressed the media. What was your biggest takeaways from today?
How excited we are to be back in Allen Park. No, I think the biggest takeaway was, you were supposed to laugh at that, by the way. I think the biggest takeaway was just starting new beginnings. All the coaches there just talk about, learning their offseason, where they are offensively. Matthew Stafford talked about how the best offenses is one where the quarterback has input with the offensive coordinator. It sounds like that's what Darrell Bevell is doing with Matthew Stafford. It's going to be interesting to see how fast he picks up the offense. He was talking about how he tries looking for similarities between offenses he knows, and that helps him pick it up a little quicker. So I think that's your number one storyline, is just seeing how fast Stafford can pick up the offense, and then defensively, just how fast the defense gets to where they were the last few weeks of the season. I think the defense will be well ahead of the offense come week 1, come week 2, come week 3, but we'll see how quickly Stafford can really get to know this offense inside and out. He's talking about today how he is the voice out there on the field. He needs to know this offense, everything about this offense there is to possibly know. And it's just going to be interesting to see how quickly he picks all that up.
Yeah, and how quickly the offense responds will be definitely key for the Lions' success. Now, everybody also pays attention to predictions and where the media...
Oh, here we go.
I got to ask you your opinion.
I know where you're going on this.
No doubt about it. Nate Davis, a prominent NFL writer, comes out and he shares with his massive audience. He says that he predicts the Lions to finish 3-13, among the worst in the NFL. And it sparked a lot of controversy, a lot of debate in terms of why are people really down on the Lions, especially when they've made improvements in a lot of areas. Yeah, there's still concerns, but a prominent writer and others are a little bit more down on the Lions as training camp has approached it. How do you view something like that? And, the question that everyone's asking is, do you view the Lions as closer to rebuilding or closer to a playoff team?
I put nothing into it. Absolutely nothing into it. It's the NFL. Things change every single year. You could be awful one year and then great the next. Put nothing into it at all. Nobody has any idea because a lot of it will have to do with how healthy you are in the next, 8 to 10, 12, 15 weeks. That's where a lot of it comes from. It's all luck when it comes to health. So I put absolutely nothing into it. You have no idea. Some teams come out and they're on fire. They could go 7-1 in the first 8 and then 1-7 in the next 8. You just don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen in the league. You don't know if you're going to have a hard schedule up front, which the Lions, it looks like they're going to have a pretty tough schedule. But again, they don't know for sure because those teams might not be as good as they were a year ago. So you have no idea what's going to happen in the NFL. And I think that's why everyone loves the NFL, because every year is different. You really don't know. Look at Cleveland last year. You don't know what one player might do for a team or what one coordinator might do for a team. You just don't know what will happen. And again, that's why you love the NFL, because you don't know. Teams go from last to first all the time. It's not like in baseball when you have a good idea of the best teams in the league, the top 10 teams in the league right off the bat. You don't know in the NFL. Anything could happen, and again, health will play a lot to do with it. You never know what quarterbacks might go down, what star players might go down. You just don't know what will happen. I mean, who would have thought the Redskins would be playing Mark Sanchez at the end of the year last year? So you just don't know what will happen in the NFL. Every week's different. I put absolutely nothing into that. I think that, honestly, I think they're probably 8-8, 9-7 teams, somewhere around there. I think they'll be better than they were a year ago. But I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team this year.
Greatly enjoying talking football, talking training camp with Skye Kerstein. Definitely follow him on Twitter at Skye Kerstein Fox 2. One of the reasons why I've always enjoyed talking to you is the work that you do as a multimedia journalist and the great coverage, the great work that you do in regards to presenting sports on the website there. What are you going to be doing? What will your focus be this training camp in terms of the coverage, the great coverage we can expect at Fox 2? What kind of stuff are you going to be working on?
Well, definitely check out fox2detroit.com right now. You'll have Stafford sound up there from his press conference earlier and some of the coordinators and tweets that I put up earlier today. We're not allowed to put the entire press conference up there due to NFL rules, but during training camp, you'll see a lot of the top bites from the players I put up there as fast as possible to give people a sense of what's going on. Also check out Fox 2 Sports on Twitter because I want to take fans into the action. I want you to be like you're there to understand what's going on, to see what's going on, to get quotes from coaches, get quotes from players, to feel like you're a part of the action even though you're not there. So our job is to bring you as close to the action as possible. So you'll have tons of sound up there, tons of pictures. Again, there's a lot of NFL rules, so I can't put everything up there or as much as I would like. Every other sport, though, you'll see everything up there. NFL, there's a lot of rules that have to do with it, so you can't put everything up there. But hopefully I take you to the action as much as possible so you understand what's going on.
That's what he does. He's Skye Kerstein, multimedia journalist,
We're
producer.
Representatives for the fans.
Representative.
That's our job.
Exactly right.
So you see what's going on. You feel like you're part of the action. And I remember when I was in the mortgage industry, I used to go on Twitter or it was before Twitter, on blogs all the time, trying to figure out what was going on with the Redskins because that's where I'm from. So I always try to do the same thing and want the fans to see what's going on all the time and be updated with what's going on at camp.
No doubt about it. Follow him on Twitter at Skye Kerstein, Fox 2. Great work there. Definitely check out the website. We greatly appreciate your time, Skye. I look forward to standing alongside you, getting the coverage, maybe even beating you to a couple scoops.
I don't know about that. Thanks, brother. Thank you very much for having me on.